Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, now for a second time, is flirting with leaving the Democratic Party. Manchin on switching parties. I'm caught between the two. But the bottom line is, you have to be caucusing somewhere. If they asked me to leave, well, I'll just have to say, I guess I'll have to abide by your wishes. I don't intend to leave, but I intend to be honest. What does that even mean? What does that mean? I don't intend to leave, but I intend to be honest? You haven't been honest for a single second of the entire Build Back Better negotiations. Remember when he said, just vote for the traditional infrastructure bill, and then I promise you we'll work it out with the Build Back Better bill. And then what happened? The progressive weasel losers voted for the traditional infrastructure bill. They were took, they were bamboozled, and then Joe Manchin was like, ha! Have you seen the new inflation numbers? Maybe it's time to put this on the shelf for a little bit. And now after doing all that, he turns around and adds insult to injury and is like, maybe I'll leave the party. Now, the fact of the matter is, I don't think he's going to do it. This sort of tap dance that Joe Manchin does actually helps him in West Virginia. Now, look, don't get it twisted. On the policy of Build Back Better, it was super popular in Virginia. We went over the numbers, provision by provision. Even among Republicans, it was popular. So he's not popular on those things. But the whole playing footsie with Republicans and saying, I'm a West Virginia Democrat, and saying, I'm not like these other Democrats, that stuff actually does go over well in West Virginia. So he's just posturing here. But listen, man, it's time to make this dude heal. He actually exposed a giant soft spot he has. There was one time when a nerve was touched. You know what it was? When Bernie Sanders wrote an op-ed in a West Virginia paper explaining why you have to vote for this bill. It's a good bill. He apparently was furious behind the scenes about that. So what does that tell you? You're on to something. So, what should be done at this late date? Look, we've passed the point of... because they already got the traditional infrastructure bill. Now there's no leverage. Good job, lefties in the House. You had all the leverage in the world. You squandered all the leverage in the world. So now what do we have to do? Well, now the traditional threats I talked about won't work. The whole, I think even threatening the daughter with prosecution, threatening the family with prosecution, look, I'll be your best friend or your worst enemy, play the old mafia boss game. I think we're past that. And I think we're at... a last resort place. And so last resort is public campaign in favor of Build Back Better, but if he pushes back even more, it becomes in favor of Build Back Better and against Joe Manchin. So in other words, there should be Democratic events in West Virginia. You should have all these signs and these placards that say West Virginia for Build Back Better. You have Joe Biden go there. You have Bernie Sanders go there. You have these rallies where you talk about the provisions of it. You get the media to cover it as much as possible. Clearly, Joe Biden has some degree of control over the media. He just met with the media and was like, hey, clean up your economic coverage. You guys got to do a better job on this. We just covered that story. So Manchin already showed that this is a soft spot for him, that he's sensitive to this. So, in other words, outflank him on the whole West Virginia Democrat thing, and you go to West Virginia, and you be the West Virginia Democrat, and you break everything down, show all the policies, do these rallies, hold the signs up, and if he gives you any pushback, then in one of those rallies, the claws come out. And you say, listen, there's one person who's standing in the way of, us getting this done. And he's not acting like a West Virginia Democrat. He's acting like a Wall Street Democrat. His name is Joe Manchin. And if it really comes to it and you have to put all the resources of the Democratic Party behind a primary challenger, do it. Now, look, I'm under no illusions. A primary challenger against Joe Manchin probably won't win. But what probably would happen is Manchin would win the primary and then a Republican would be Manchin. And you have to be willing to shoot the hostage in order to get the result. And that's something the Democrats are never willing to do. Well, it's time. Because he's had an insult to injury. He's spitting in your eye. Every step of the way, he's been dishonest about this stuff. Same with Kyrsten Sinema. Now, I say all this, none of it's going to happen. None of it's going to happen because Biden doesn't really care that much about the specifics. and the left already caved with all the leverage they had. So we're either going to get no Build Back Better bill at all, which would prove the left right, or we'll get an even more watered down Build Back Better bill, which will prove the left right. Either way, we're right. And when I say we, I don't mean the congressional left, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the Justice Democrats, etc. I mean the actual left. This is what we warned every step of the way, and we were proven correct every step of the way. I told you, either there's going to be no Build Back Better bill at all, or they're going to weaken it, and then pass that. Weaken it even more than it's already been weakened. It's already down to, what, 1.9 trillion, when before it was 3.5, and they dropped it again, and they dropped it again. They'll drop it again, or nothing will pass at all. So that's where we are. Well played by all the idiots in the Democratic Party, and Manchin is just tap dancing on your grave now. How's it feel? If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.